There we go.
Look at that,
Wow.
Mikey.
And it's
Can you
10:07. We're ahead of the curve.
can you believe that?
Well, I'm right where I always am in Pasadena, California, not far from the Rose Bowl, not far from Dodger Stadium. Where are you?
I'm in beautiful. Boy, I'm in a place you want to be, man. I'm in Julian, California,
It's
and
beautiful
Julian,
there.
California is famous for, among other things, and many things. And by the way, this is probably about 50 miles, 60 miles east of North San Diego County. And Julian is famous for a place called Julian Pies, where they make, believe it or not, Michael, pies, apple pies, berry
Well,
pies, Dutch apple pies, sugar-free apple pies. Um, what else? Boysenberry apple pie,
boysenberry apple. That's what I want.
apple boysenberry crumb top.
Now, what's the rule on whipped cream for you?
Depends on the pie, but I'm always amiable to it. I'm
Well,
always agreeable
I
to
always
whip.
enforce Florida rules. Florida rules for key lime pie is if you can see the key lime, not enough whipped cream. Same thing goes for apple and julienne. By the way, when I lived in San Diego and Mission Beach, Julian was so far away we just called it the country. Now, parts of San Diego have actually grown all the way to Julian and vice versa.
Yeah, not quite, but it's getting close. It's probably Ramona, where it's really that strip between San Diego and San Marcos and Ramona and Escondido. That thing has just exploded. I mean, there's stuff there that wasn't there. Some places look like it wasn't there 2 weeks ago,
North
and
County has
all of a
gotten
sudden it's
huge.
there,
Yeah.
and it's really crazy. But I took a ride out into the desert this morning to Borrego Springs, which is well. First of all, Michael, I don't know how many times you've been out to the desert. I'm gonna guess a number of times, and I don't know that there's anything more beautiful except maybe a sunset in the Pacific or in the desert than a sunrise in the desert.
The
I mean,
day
the way it
says
just
here,
comes up over the mountains.
the day says here we come and we mean it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's spectacularly beautiful. And so I got up this morning at 4 o'clock, got in the car, this beautiful Chrysler van that I'm driving, which is we'll talk about it a little later. Is what a great road machine this thing is,
How many names
and
does it have? How many
it's got a
names?
lot of names. It's got more names than Elizabeth Taylor if she used all her married names. It's the 2025 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle. And
Not
it
the
is at the pinnacle of minivans or people movers, as many people say down that don't want to get caught driving a minivan. They say, I'm driving a people mover.
Do they have an automatic door, sliding door?
Oh, it's got automatic sliding doors. It's got beautifully upholstered seats that look like a baseball glove. It's got all the windows go down or open up. It's got a sunroof. It's got an entertainment center that rivals anything you have in your living room.
Does it have
It's
a vacuum edition?
got a vacuum in it. You can take it and vacuum the van out if the kids or whoever spills something in the back. You just get right out there and vacuum it right up. And
Was that a
that,
vacuum noise? Wait, was that a vacuum noise you made?
I guess, well, that's how Mom's old Electrolux used to sound.
That's the sound of the quarter going down the pipe. Oh damn! I wanted that.
One of my favorite Three Stooges is the one where Shemp is a vacuum cleaner. Oh no, it's Abbott Costello. Excuse me. I think Three Stooges probably do too. Or he's a vacuum cleaner salesman, and he goes to the
Probably.
house and he dumps the ashtray on the floor and he dumps this on the floor. It turns out the guy doesn't have electricity.
What a mess you got here.
Now it'd be tough to find a house today without electricity, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Borrego Springs.
Yeah, there probably is Borrego. That's an interesting little town, Borrego Springs. It's right kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there's a lot of nowhere behind around it until you get to the Salton Sea,
And that's somewhere.
Uh,
Salton Sea is somewhere.
the Salton Sea and Slab City. There's not much going on out there, but Borrego Springs seems to be the hot spot, the night spot of the beginning of the desert. So you
That's
can
where you
get your
go.
practice for the big desert towns right there in the Borrego Springs.
Big desert town. I'm trying to think of one. Well, I guess Vegas. That's about the biggest
Yeah,
desert town we
Vegas,
can think.
Tucson, um, what is it? Gila Bend. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of really cool desert cities. Albuquerque, Las Cruces. No, I don't know if that's a city more than a town. Um, but there's a lot of culture, a lot of artists are moving out to the desert because the land is cheap and you can have
You've
all that you
been
want.
you've been putting together some exciting days and nights if you happen to be a Mets fan. So congratulations. I don't know what's going to happen, but they've been playing like they mean it.
Well, it's the hat, man. I got the hat. And I
Where's the
put the
hat?
hat on and good things happen. Yesterday, I put the hat on, good things happened. I took the hat off for a couple of minutes and bad things started happening. And that's not good. See, I made a mistake. I took the hat off because I was in somebody's house. I didn't want to look like a jerk walking around with the hat. As soon as I took the hat off, man, the Phillies figured out where the ball was. It had great pitching for 7 innings. And then all of a sudden the wheels came off. But
Well, if you're a Mets fan, you got to wait to the eighth inning for anything to happen anyway. So just be
it's
patient.
nuts. They seem to sleep the first 7 innings, then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
Let
All
this
of a
guy
sudden,
Wheeler
everybody figures out what to do.
let this guy Wheeler throw all his strikes and let him have a good time. Let him have fun. Let him pitch deep into the count so he won't come back in 4 days. And then we'll go to work. Bring in the bullpen. We'll go to work.
Well, and in this time of year, you don't have the 4 days rest. They're going to throw you out there whenever they need you, basically. You know, so it was interesting. Who did they throw out there the other night? One of the starting pitchers to close the game. Edwin Diaz, for all the good hype around him, has been less than good. He's
Is he out of gas?
he's reminding me of Bobby Ayala. He used to send old Bobby Ayala out there and just wait for the ball to start to go sailing off the wall. I mean, it's really a tough thing to be a relief pitcher, a closer like that.
Well, it's hard to pitch anywhere in the Phillies lineup. Anything could happen.
Yeah, but if you're a good team, you're supposed to be able to get those guys out, right?
That's the
And you're
idea.
supposed, and let's face it, the Mets. Now, I'm not going to say they fell apart in that final inning, but they definitely mishandled the ball a couple of times. And as you know, in these types of games, an error doesn't go without punishment.
Or even a walk.
Yeah, a walk, an error, those kinds of things come back to bite you in these kinds of games against these kinds of teams. Teams that are good, that are well-rounded, and that know how to take advantage of a mistake.
And
And
The Mets did the classic comeback there. One walk and 8 hits, all singles. The most damaging
yeah,
one single after another single after another single after another single. Runs coming in like they were geese coming home to roost.
and also, which is always interests me. One thing about the Mets, they seem to always hit when they're behind in the count. They seem to be 0-2,
Yeah,
1-2.
the more miserable the situation, the better off they are.
Yeah, it almost seems like the more pressure you put on them, the worse it's going to be. Or the better it's going to be for the Mets, the worse it's going to be for the other team. So it was. It's interesting to me to see that dynamic. But again, yesterday you brought in a guy who can be spectacular, or can be. I mean, he really does have that Bobby Ayala quality about him, where you see Bobby Ayala come in If you're a Mariner fan, you remember Bobby Ayala, or I'll go another one, Jose Mesa, who was a guy who would come in and you'd never know what you were going to get from him. You could get, 3 strikeouts in the ninth inning and goodbye, everybody. Or he could make it interesting, more interesting than totally
Goodbye.
uninteresting.
See you, everybody.
Yeah, goodbye. See you. Thank you for coming. Please drive home safely.
But at least
Uh,
the teams in baseball are playing to their strengths and to their reputations. In football, God knows what's going to happen. The teams that are supposed to win can't win. The teams that are supposed to lose come back and destroy them. And it's ugly. 49ers, ugly. Seahawks, ugly. Giants, win. Jets, ugly. It's
well, for all the hype with the Seahawks about, going 3-0, now all of a sudden it seems like they can't find themselves.
they're not the only ones. The 49ers can't call a play. They can't agree on things in the huddle. They don't know what they're doing.
Now, I didn't. Has McCaffrey returned? I haven't seen.
No
I did not
McCaffrey,
see a 49er game.
no Debo Samuel, no McCaffrey.
The people I'm visiting here in San Diego have will not watch the NFL
Because the Chargers left.
because the Chargers picked up and left, and so they don't want anything to do with the Chargers. They don't want anything to do with Alex Spanos or anybody else that's involved with that team. They want nothing to do with it. Goodbye, good riddance. We're worried about the Padres now. We're not worried about the Chargers anymore.
Well, it's a familiar story for teams that lose. The Clippers were in San Diego. They're gone. The Padres are the only thing that's left. The Chargers, with Eric Coryell and all the great years they had as the San Diego Chargers, gone. And they're gone because San Diego couldn't make a home for them. And they're doing just fine in L.A. See you later.
Well, they're gone because some cities are starting to say, we're not going to give you a
Anything.
$750 million or $1 billion stadium and get nothing out of it.
Well, they just became renters in LA because the Rams built a stadium. SoFi is one of the most beautiful stadiums in the league. And the Chargers get to play there because they're polite to the Rams. And the Rams aren't using it, the Chargers can practice there or play a game or have a meeting or a big wheel concert.
Well, yeah, and where are the Chargers eventually going to wind up?
They'll stay there. They got a new practice facility out in Thousand Oaks.
So you'll have two teams playing in the same stadium, a la New York.
Well, they've been playing in the same stadium now for this is the third year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is you have that situation. I don't know. It's funny because the people I'm not going to say all people because it's different, but people I talk to in San Diego seem to be just fine with a soccer team in place.
Denial.
Well, I don't know, Michael. Do these cities bow down if you have other problems in your city that you have to get taken care of? Do you bow down to an NFL team to build a castle for a team that's going to come in and not share the profits with you?
Well, the contract can read any way you want it to read. They didn't make an agreement. They didn't try to make an agreement. They didn't have the money for the agreement. They didn't have the heart for the agreement, so they're gone. Whether San Diego follows the NFL is no longer a valid point to be made. We're not going to watch football anymore. Well, I'm sorry. Mow the lawn.
Well, how many people in Seattle stopped watching the NBA when the Sonics left?
How many people watched the NBA when the Sonics were there is the question.
Well, yeah. I mean, people had started, everybody paints this rosy picture about the Sonics. The reality is the Sonics had started to fade out of the limelight for a while, a year or two before they left.
They weren't in the heart of the fans anymore.
Now, part of the problem is that the sports fan has become so fickle and there is so many sports now to watch. I don't ever discount anymore. I mean, I used to discount soccer. I had 100, 200 people going to watch those games. Sorry, but those games are full now. People spend their money on tickets. Hockey has grown immensely and has put a kind of a crimp, I think, in the NBA to a certain degree. I don't think it's on the scale of putting a crimp in anything else, but it's been interesting. And I think cities are just saying, we just do we want to make this invest? Do we want to? Does a NFL team mean so much to us that we're willing to put the investment in this, this kind of investment to and these kind of tax breaks where it costs us money?
Well, look at the situation in LA. The Rams built their own stadium in Inglewood, not in LA, but in Inglewood. The Clippers built their own court in Inglewood, and these the value on these teams is in the billions. When
Right, but
Steve
the
when
value doesn't go to the city. That's
when
that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying the value is there if you have a team, but if you don't have a team, there's zero value. There's no money to be made from it. Steve Ballmer spent $2 billion on the team, and I don't know how much more on his new stadium. But the fact is, he's got a home in the largest media city in the world, and that's where he's winning and playing and making a profit.
right, but how much of now if somebody wants to build, if the Chargers wanted to build a stadium in San Diego and they thought that that'd be great. We'll get some land and they'll give us some land to build a stadium and maybe a couple of tax breaks, but we'll build the stadium. Now maybe that's something that you got to look at because that could bring some money into the city. But for the cities to lay out all this money when they don't have it is I just think that day has come and gone for a lot of
And
cities.
San Diego's too small to play that game. It's a beautiful city. It's a wonderful part of the world, but it's not a major market.
Yeah, I think I think you hit the nail on the head. If you're New York City, if you're LA, and LA has enough money that it can move in and support two teams. It can support the building of a stadium. It can support and give tax breaks to the entities that have these teams, and it's not going to hurt them that much.
They can give
If San
incentives.
Diego gives, $200 million to a football team or $300 million to a football team, more than likely there it means that they're not going to, if there's a homeless program, but they're not going to be able to hire this or do that in that city.
Well, there's the giving, but what about the take? What sort of deal might they have made that would have returned money to the would have
Well,
repaid the loan, would have repaid the
I
effort
don't know.
financially?
I'm not that involved in San Diego politics to know exactly what it was. I do know that LA swooped in and said they would give them a better deal. They would give them, whatever it is they needed. I don't know how the deal worked, but that's what seemed to have happened
And
with LA.
there was no real effort to keep the team. They didn't have there wasn't a financial success story
Oh,
that could have
I
been
think there was
realized.
an effort. I think there was an effort in San Diego to keep the team. Um, I just I just don't think. I think at some point San Diego said, we just
Yeah.
don't. We're not going to play the game at that price. Now, whether you think that's right or that's wrong, I mean, if a city doesn't want to pay to keep a football team there, the team's going to move. But what did San Diego lose by losing that team? Did they lose a lot, or they, find and listen? When it comes to politics, it's political, it's financial. So, what happened politically? What happened financially?
Politically, I don't think there was a cost. Financially, they're just out of the game. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it just don't. But they have. a soccer team that plays in that stadium now that's happy to be there. They didn't have to give them a lot of money to come there. They had to do some stuff to the berth, and they're still making the money off of the parking and off of this and off of that and the businesses around because they draw a lot of people.
I don't even know the name of the San Diego soccer team.
Is it the Earthquakes? Or maybe that's San Jose. I forget the name of the San Diego soccer team. It seems that they name a lot of these soccer teams FC now, football club.
FCSD.
FC. FCSD. Yeah, or SDFC. Yeah. I think the one in New York is called New York City FC. So, Michael, I don't know. I mean, 25 years ago, these stadiums seemed like a good idea. And in many cases, they were. In many cases, whole neighborhoods were built up around these stadiums.
But the stadiums themselves were not built to sustain financially the effort of the team. There wasn't a return from just operating the stadium. The concessions, the parking, the construction of the stadium to allow for the luxury boxes at a scale that would pay for the day-to-day operations of the team. There's a ratio, a formula that has to be satisfied to make a stadium viable these days.
Well, yeah, and I don't know that San Diego has that kind of, I mean, I know that everybody in Seattle, not everybody, but many people in Seattle are hot to buy a ticket to get the Sonics back. But I would question, what's what is it going to cost them? Are they going to have enough people to buy tickets for the Sonics?
Depends what
Are they
sort of
going to
team
have,
they have.
so many people think that if you bring the Sonics back, 1994 is going to come back.
Probably
And
not.
it's not like that. The reality is that, it cost you, I don't know, it cost you $100, $150 to go to an NBA game now.
Probably more.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you figure, it's $80 to park your car at Safeco Field.
What is it called to park your car in Boston? Is it $80? Park your car.
$80
Park your car.
to park your car at Safeco Field. I mean, that's ridiculous. In a parking garage that the people paid to build. I mean, doesn't that seem, I don't want to say wrong.
Well, where does the $80 go? How much of it goes to the city? How much of it goes to pay back the loan on that facility?
I think the tax goes to the city. It's actually $84. It's 84. I think $14 goes to the city, and the rest goes to the ball club.
Do they
Now,
have a
if you were
sign
telling
saying
me
do they have a sign
that,
saying if someone robs your car while you're parked here, we're not responsible?
I don't know. I mean, that's always been proven to be a load of crap. That if you park your car, they're responsible. They charge you $84 to park your car. They're
They're
responsible.
responsible.
And any good lawyer will get them to be responsible. Toot sweet. Because those things have been proven time and time again to be bull.
And if the guy you went to school with is your lawyer and he's not a good lawyer, he'll still probably beat the case.
Well, it's because it's a fallacy. I mean, they could print anything on the back of the ticket or on the back of the license that they give you to park your car there. But the reality is
It's their facility.
that
They're responsible.
they're responsible. If something happens to your car, you see how many insurance companies go up against them and collect whatever it is that they're paying out for the damage.
Even if you're driving a Chrysler Belvedere, Del Nago, Delville, sports car SS4.
A Chrysler Del Bello, yeah. It's a Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle. 2025. Keep it straight, baby.
They asked me what I thought of the name, and I said, needs something.
It's a lot. The name, but the longer the name, the better the car, right?
But there's no, it's not a performance car because there aren't letters or digits. If that was a Chrysler Performer X15, you'd think, high powered van.
Yeah, you would think like, yeah, because Ford has their van that they put ST on, and Chevy has a van that they put something on. Chrysler, I don't know if they have a ST, but the good thing about this thing, Michael, is it's a plug-in hybrid. And the plug-in hybrid I love the plug-in hybrid because it gives you, 35 miles just on electric, and then it kicks into gas, so you can go anywhere you want.
Plus, you got your own hotspot.
It's got a hotspot. And listen, I'm a guy, you hit a certain age, you need that hotspot.
What
The
am I without
hotspot,
my hotspot? How's your hotspot?
that
Let me
hotspot
check my
doesn't come
hotspot.
along so easy. It takes time for that hotspot to get hot.
What did you think of California? You haven't seen it for a while. What's going on in San Diego that you can recommend?
Boy, there's a whole lot of people here. Man, you're right. I haven't been down. Well, I've been to San Francisco, but I haven't been to Southern California in a long time.
We got some people down
And
here, don't we?
just the growth down here is unreal. I mean, we went up to the top of a mountain last night to watch the sunset up above San Marcos, and I'm going to tell you, man, this place was jam packed. There were just tons of people, young people.
It's funny,
Which,
we're in the election time. A lot of commercials on television going, California, crime, highest gas prices, highest taxes, highest this, highest that. Nobody wants to live in California. There's 40 million people living in the state, 10 million living in LA. I don't know how many million living in San Diego. So, regardless of what the advertising says, a lot of people want to live in California.
yeah, well, Michael, there's no place like it. I
No,
mean, you can talk about crime, you can talk about the high price of gas, you can talk about everything, but it's not. Um, you're paying for the aesthetics of where you live. You're paying for the beauty of where you live. You're paying for the beach to be 10 miles away.
and the mountains
You
in the
know,
other direction.
yeah, you're paying for being able to ride out to the desert. You're paying for support services that are better than most other states.
And,
This stuff
and
doesn't come free.
and despite the amount of people, you're paying for a level of civilization and future thinking citizens. What about
Yeah, I mean,
Arkansas?
yeah, for the most part, you're paying for people's education, people's health. You're paying for a standard of living that seems to be above most states. Now, you can turn around and say, well, the traffic is horrible. That's the one thing I've noticed about California. Oh my God. It seems like every freeway at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, somebody called everybody's house and said, everybody get in the car and get on the freeway
Not at 4, not at 5, but at 2.
at 2 o'clock. Everybody's looking to jump on the freeway to slow things down. Um, but I'll tell you one thing I noticed too, Michael, and maybe it's just in San Diego. I don't know if it's in LA. People do seem to be friendlier than I remember in California. There seems to be more of a people smile at each other, more of a mellowness to it than I remember when I left.
That's nice
I
to
don't know
hear.
what if that's just where I'm hanging out, but it just seemed to be a little bit better, a little bit more mellow than it was. I don't know if that's just here, if it's LA, if it's just the surfer crowd.
I think it's partially
I've been
Southern
all over the
California.
place, but
I
it
think it's
definitely
the,
seems friendlier than Northern California, which
I
is
think
funny because it used to be the other way.
things got a little too intense in Northern California, perhaps.
Yeah, it was maybe people in California happy to hear the people are leaving, so that they're happy about it. I don't know, but the beauty here is unbelievable. Uh, the beach, man. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like the beach in Southern California.
No.
You know,
And San Diego's got some beauties. Pacific Beach, Mission Beach, all the beauties. La
yeah, we
Jolla.
went. We went to was it Carlsbad the other night?
Yeah, Carlsbad by
Um,
the Sea.
yeah, it was Carlsbad we went to the other night, and it was gorgeous. We just sat at the beach, and it was foggy, but who cares? It was just this beautiful thing of going and enjoying the waves coming in, having a little seafood, and just enjoying the whole vibe.
Yep. So are you moving?
Yeah, that's the one thing that hasn't changed here is the food is delicious. I don't know how you come back from I don't know how you come back from California any less than you got here.
Can't be done.
I don't think it can be done. People look bigger in California than they used to.
Ah.
There's more, yeah, I think there's more bigger people. I think the food is getting to them, Michael.
We certainly depend on it, rely on it, revel in it.
So, Mikey, I haven't followed politics in the last week. Maybe glanced in once in a while, and I know that today is the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of that horrendous um, massacre,
Slaughter.
slaughter in northern Israel, and it doesn't seem like we're any closer to settling it or fixing it
Well,
than we
the
were
Middle
a year
East,
ago.
they always celebrate death with more death.
Seems to be. I mean, is there an advisory out that people shouldn't travel today? Should be watching in the airports and stuff.
Go to the beach. That's my advice. Go to the beach. What's interesting is that Helene and Milton might have something more to do with the result of this election than politics. Helene took care of North Carolina in a horrible, unpredictable way.
Yeah,
Now Milton's going back for Florida. These are both swing states. These are both vital states to the outcome of the election, and both now probably going to have trouble have every making it available to vote for everybody who intended to vote.
yeah. I think that's well. I think the cities ought to do okay, but it's those rural votes. Those places that are devastated. I mean, it could be that they'll still be looking for bodies while while the voting is going on.
According to the reporters, the smell of death around Greenville is greater than the greater than anyone expected. And now that could be animals as well as humans that are washed away in the mess, but they haven't found everybody yet. They can't find them. It's just
Yeah,
an extraordinary story.
and chances are they won't find everybody because I mean a lot of
Speculate.
people get well. I don't want to go into the gory details, but
Reduced.
it gets gory. It's not a pretty thing when you have those types of situations. And now you have the next one, Milton,
Yeah.
uh, the only hurricane that has a cigar, will be coming in. And
The only hurricane that's your uncle.
yeah, the only hurricane is your uncle will be coming in. The only hurricane that steals the other hurricane's wind. Um,
And pretend it was his own. Milty.
exactly.
That's my joke.
That's my joke. That's my wind. Um, and then you have the political end of this thing where you have the former president of the United States claiming that FEMA is out of money, that they're giving the money to the refugees, the illegal aliens,
So they can have surgeries.
so they can become women or men or change their sexual orientation. They're paying them. Kamala Harris is signing the checks.
What about golden retrievers? Can you become a golden retriever?
I don't know. Are they doing dog change operations?
Well, they just seem so happy. They're beautiful dogs. They smile. They're always calm. They have wonderful personalities. They're fun to have around the family.
Tells me it seems to me that you would have to do something like paint the people, paint the dogs. I mean, it wouldn't be a simple thing like with people. You can just sew something on, sew something off, move a few pipes around, and you're ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Um, it seems with dogs, you not only that you have to change the hair, you have to change so many things on a dog.
You need a tail. You have to have a tail.
You have to have a tail.
You have
You
to have
have to have
whiskers.
because the lower parts are always exposed. You can make a woman out of a man or a man out of a woman because you hide some of the stuff behind clothes.
You hide the improvements.
Yeah. I mean, the under construction stuff can be under construction. You don't even really have to get it constructed if you don't want it. You can just, these days just go out and say, I'm this, and then you be that. And the only one that's concerned is several congressmen from states east of the Mississippi.
That have issues.
They seem to have issues with the whole thing. It seems like they can't just go, all right, well, that's cool.
And they thought that just taking the FEMA money seemed a good idea. That's what they did. That's what the Democrats did. They took all that FEMA money.
And
They
said,
stole it.
let's give it to the transsexuals. And the stupid thing is, Michael, that people
They
believe
believe
these
it.
guys.
Yeah. Well, there are people on the internet right now telling the whole story about how North Carolina has been forgotten by the government. That there is no response. It's not, they're not there. They're not coming, and that's the story. Find
Right.
your own grandma.
Where the governor has to come out and say, no, 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 no. But they're not going to believe him because in North Carolina, he's a Democrat governor.
He's part of the problem. He's part of the lie.
So
He's.
they'll go and elect the black Nazi.
And I want you to know that even though Donald Trump said that they had taken the FEMA money, he was only kidding. That's a joke. That's a
Yeah,
joke.
just kidding. That's his whole thing. He's kidding about everything.
He's a kidder.
He's a knee slapping kidder.
Talk about funny.
So I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen. I know that Kamala is out doing more interviews, which I think is a pretty good idea.
Doing Howard Stern. I would love to hear that.
Well, just I mean, you should be able to hear it, right? I mean, it'll be all over the place. You could just go on the internet, go on YouTube, and Stern puts all his stuff up on YouTube. So I'm pretty sure you'll be able to hear it. Um, and it'll be it's just the only thing that I don't like about Kamala, and she continues to do it, is she doesn't lay out this. Every time they ask her a question, she talks about her mother and this and that, and that's all well and good, but I don't know if she's hitting the mark with that. Maybe she is, and I just don't feel it. But I get nervous about it.
What mark is your opponent hitting when you think about marks being
Well,
hit?
but yeah, but I see that's where he's beatable, though, isn't it? Isn't he beatable if you come out and you lay out your agenda, you lay out what you want to do,
The funny thing
instead
about
of talking
Americans is
about growing up in Oakland? I mean,
we don't believe anything. That's why 47% believe Trump no matter what, 53% believe Harris no matter what, and that's it. They do not move. They do not change their mind. They do not change their vote. They do not change their position. And the only thing that makes any difference is whether they actually vote. What they believe, we cannot alter. The American public for this election is welded into place.
yeah. How many believe Kennedy? Anybody know?
I think that his debate made a difference, but the vote was all Chicago, according to the underground press.
Well,
By the way,
Kennedy's
Chicago has two baseball teams and a football team that can't win, and nobody cares in Chicago. They're frustrated by it, but they improved the stadiums. They have major league commitment. The Bulls were a championship team, and that was good enough for them. There's
see,
nobody in Chicago, not the Blackhawks, not anybody can win a game, but Chicago remains a major market. How did that happen?
Mayor Daley.
Okay.
Mayor Daley left a message before he died. This because we don't take bullshit in Chicago. You either win or you tell people you win.
So the Bears just said, "We won. We won another one."
We won. We won in the name of Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
And then you go over to Ditka's after the game. You eat a cholesterolic steak, and you seize up your arteries.
I'll have cholesterol number 3, please.
Well done. Medium rare.
With extra sauce. Do you have sauce?
Give me cholesterol and a side of statin. That's the way we'll get things going. We'll feed ourselves statins and melt that cholesterol away.
Tony Hawk will leave San Clemente and move to Chicago.
I don't know why anybody would leave San Clemente, to be honest with you. Why would anybody leave San Clemente?
Why would anyone? Nobody would.
If you're there, you're there. You're not going anywhere.
It's just fine. Here comes the sunset. Here comes the sunrise. See, I told you, you're going to love it here.
Yeah, those people the people in San Clemente are not the people that are leaving California.
To go to Texas or Georgia.
Right. The people in places like San Clemente and La Jolla and the beach in San Diego and Coronado and all those different places, they're not leaving California.
No.
They're like, wait a minute. I got a house here that's worth $2 million. Where am I going to buy a house like that? I'm going to buy a house like that in Oklahoma, and then I'm going to wake up the morning after I do that, and I'm going to be in Oklahoma. Ugh.
And no matter where you go, no matter where you look, and no matter how far you go in any direction, you're still in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Oklahoma, some people say, well, my parents are from there and this and that, and so I'll move back there. But good God, when you move back there, you find out how different the rest of the country is. They don't call them flyover states because you should be stopping there.
Keep going. Keep moving, buddy. Do yourself a favor.
They got big signs that say, keep moving. So I don't know. I just don't get that. I know that everybody's saying, well, 5 million left this year or 2 million left last year. Those must be people from San Bernardino or Riverside or something like that.
What I say is what they say in New York. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think a massive number of people are moving here too. And most of the people that I talk to that live here have that attitude about it. If you want to go, go.
Please, the border's open.
It's it's. I mean, geez, it's it may be crowded. It may be high. Cost of living may be high. Taxes may be high. You may have to deal with certain rules, but there's a lot of people here, and if you don't have certain rules, you can't keep them all in line.
The only time we get everybody in line is 2:00 every day on the freeway. Get in line.
Get in your cars and get down to the freeway. We're giving away something. That's what it looks like. I was on the 5 the other night, and I'm thinking to myself, they must be giving something away here. I went up to Mission San Juan Capistrano, and I'm looking and I'm saying, my God.
What's going on? There's a party somewhere.
Somewhere there's a party. Now, nobody knows quite where it is, but it's somewhere. And Marto, what happened to the restaurant prices? I mean, I went to that dinner in Coronado the other night. It was $41 for a salmon.
Was it dead or was it alive?
It was dead, and I wasn't even sure it was salmon.
That's the way it is with a dead fish.
I didn't trust these people. This could have been manufactured salmon. See, that's the thing. When you get a salmon in the Northwest, you know that salmon was not manufactured.
You know its name, you know where it came from, and you know you're carrying it home and it's still flipping around.
You know you're talking to it on the way home.
And it might talk back.
You say, "Hello, Sammy Salmon, how are you?" But, it's yeah, I mean, the cost, I mean, that's the thing that I guess gets people is the cost of everything is so expensive here. Uh, and then now to me, it doesn't seem that expensive because the cost of everything in Seattle is not much cheaper than here.
Well, they're charging their prices because they say they're getting away with it in San Clemente. Why can't we charge these prices?
That's it. Nixon's estate is pulling them in. They're getting they're getting $18 for Nixon stuff.
Now, Nixon was born in Yorba Linda. You think he wanted to live in Yorba Linda? He did not. He went right to the
No,
beach.
it came right down to San Clemente. They moved the house though. The house is on the grounds of the Nixon Library.
They moved the house and then they lied about it.
I don't know. Did they?
Simple
Yeah, they
question.
had.
Where'd you get this house? Can't
Well, we
say.
were driving down the street in Yorba
They were
Linda.
giving them away on the freeway.
Yeah, that's why everybody's on it at 2 o'clock and you can't go anywhere because we got this damn freeway in front of us. So are you rooting for the Padres or what's going on? Do you?
Well, I'm following the Mets. I want the Mets to win. I want the Padres to win. And I want the LA fans to start behaving themselves.
Well, I don't know.
Act like a Ram fan, not a Dodger fan. Control yourself.
I do notice. I got to say that baseball has really gotten the they've tried to make baseball more like football, more like the NFL, and I think they've succeeded big time in making the fans more like NFL fans.
Well, the Dodger fans are just feeling the hate of the league. Everybody hates the Dodgers, worse than the Yankees. They figure that it's not a real team, it's just a confection, a financial construction.
Why, you think the Dodgers are more hated than the Yankees, huh?
I think they have more reason to be hated, yeah.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. The Dodgers hated more than the Yankees. I mean, I know the Dodgers are hated. Believe you me, I've seen that hate grow over the last 10 years.
Yep.
I mean, it really has.
Since the new ownership started putting all this money every year and just increasing the ante.
Yeah, they've really become a team to hate in baseball. They don't seem to have the kind of personality that they did, even when Don Mattingly was there.
Well, they've got the team financially prepared to win, but they haven't won it yet. So there's a lot of emotion and a lot of expectations riding on everything, based on the fact that we bought the best team. Now we have to prove we're the best team. When we know we're the best team, we still have to win the games to prove we're the best team, and they haven't done that yet.
There's a guy walking over here with a Brooklyn Dodgers hat on. I mean, everybody loves the Brooklyn Dodgers.
They pose no threat.
They don't exist anymore. I mean, you can go down and see the Brooklyn Cyclones, but you can't see the Dodgers.
Or the Oakland A's.
No, you can't see the Oakland A's anymore. California has lost. Well, they haven't lost them yet.
When they move to Sacramento, are they going to call them the Solons?
They should. They should do like they did with the Sonics. They have to leave the team records and everything in the city that they left. So when they go down to Las Vegas, they have to start up as the Las Vegas crap tablers. Crap shooters. Wouldn't that be a good team name? The LV crap shooters.
Well, considering that they're doing it on the cheap, they should call it the Las Vegas Strip, Strip Down.
I like that. But the Strip is not in Las Vegas.
It's not in the city. Part of it's out of the city.
The Strip is in Paradise.
Oh,
And Paradise has disagreed with Vegas on many things over the course of the, I don't know, 75 years that that's going on. At one time, I believe you couldn't gamble on Sunday in Paradise, which kind of puts a crimp in those people's weekend styles.
go get a burger. Go get on the freeway. No gambling here.
Right, go downtown. You got to go to Binion's Horseshoe or the, what's the other place? The Nevada Club. You got to go there if you want to gamble. We're not going to let you gamble here in Paradise.
The MGM Grand is for families only.
Yeah, they had blue laws there up until like the mid 80s, I think. Because I remember that there were certain stores that could be open, but there was a lot of stores that couldn't open on Sunday.
Go to church where there's no room. There are no churches. Well, go ahead, find one, open one, start one.
Well, there's a really great church like right off the Strip.
Did the
There's
Elvis Chapel, the St. Presley?
Yeah, I think it is St. Presley or something like that. But when you go in, you look at the stained glass windows, and they're all donated by Mr. and Mrs. Dean Martin, Mr. and Mrs. Frank Sinatra, Mr. and Mrs. Hunter and no, what's it? Peter Lawford, Mr. and Mrs. There's like all these famous names that donated these windows.
Joey Bishop and his dog Spot.
Joey Bishop said, I'm a Jew, but I'm going to,
I like stained glass.
I like stained glass. I like to see my friends, my buddies. The only way they'll let me hang out in the Rat Pack is if I buy these windows. So I'm not going to buy the windows.
I can't sing, I can't dance, and I'm not funny. I'm lucky to have a stained glass window.
Now, don't be knocking Joey like that. I mean, Joey couldn't dance, could he?
Nope.
Couldn't sing.
Nope.
He brought Regis Philbin into the show business world.
Yeah, but that's not quite funny enough. Well, that's funny, but not funny enough to be a comedian.
He was Regis, and he was a stand-up comedian that I don't ever remember any of his routines being funny.
He could stand up, but the funny part eluded him.
Right, the comedian part was a little bit of trouble for Joey.
But standing up, he was among the best.
He could stand up. He could stand up, but I don't know. Him and Peter Lawford never fit like 100% into that group.
So they drank to feel better.
Yeah, Lawford, without a doubt, didn't seem like part of that group, and Joey Bishop didn't seem like part of that group.
Hey guys, I got a show on ABC.
The Joey Bishop Show with Corbett Monica. Don't tell me. Corbett Monica, Mary Treen, Joe Besser, and
Wally Cox.
Oh man, who was the Abby Dalton? Abby Dalton played Joey's wife. Mary Treen played the housekeeper, and Joe Besser was the guy who fixed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! What do you want me to fix?
You're a nasty man.
Oh, you're so nasty. I don't think you can get away with that these days.
No, you need some content. They had the cast. They just didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, him and Paul Lynde would be out of business. Foster Brooks wouldn't have a job. You couldn't imitate something that you weren't. nowadays. Used to be able to. Now, if there's whatever there is going on, you have to find somebody who is representative of that group to
So,
be the
Vinny,
actor.
when are you going home to Seattle town?
Schedule to go home tomorrow night. I don't know though. I'm hankering to stay a few more days.
Come on, baby, stay a couple more. What difference does it make?
I'd like to stay. I'm actually not crazy about flying home either. I know Alaska will do a good job, as they always do, but I'm just not. It doesn't feel. It feels weird to be flying home. This was the first time I had flown in 5 years.
Well, forget about flying. Think about that pie. Where's that pie?
It's about 100 feet away from me.
My
Not even.
my suggestion is begin the trek toward the pie, one
It's like
step at a
22. It's
time.
like 22 feet away from me to trek for the pie.
Slowly, I turned around, step by step.
It really. Oh my God, the smell of this place, Michael. It just smells like baked apples.
Have yourself a nice piece of pie on me.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the apple crumb.
And I'll talk to you Wednesday, depending on where you are.
Mikey,
Yeah.
talk to you Wednesday, man. I'll be back. Should be back in Seattle unless I drive home.
Okay, I love you, baby. Have a good time.
Love you too, baby. Good to see you. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you on Wednesday if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Mikey, peace, love, and apple manischewitz.
What a pie. See ya.
See you, Mikey. Thank you all for listening too. We'll see you on Wednesday.